Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mitlin Chidima. I am a certified health coach and a certified nutrition coach. So today I am going to be talking about something incredibly important yet left unspoken. So today we are diving into another taboo topic, painful sex. Pain during penetration, pain around the cervix area, all of the above, guys. We are going to talk about it. So stay tuned because this is really a very big challenge for women. I mean, it's a challenge so many women out there are going through, not just Nigerian women, but most women around the world. There is, in fact, many people have their own stories to tell. A friend of mine who happens to be a gynecologist, told me that the amount of women that come into her practice, talking about painful sex, they are really, really much. So you can see it is a very big challenge. But because of probably cultural norms, stigma, embarrassments, many women suffer in silence. Many don't talk about it, especially in Nigeria. Many women tend to go through that pain because of fear of losing their husband to another woman, or fear of not fulfilling their marital, obligation. And I think this has to stop, because if you continue, with that pain during sexual intercourse, you are hurting yourself. Sex is not for one person, it's not for one person to enjoy. It is for two people to enjoy. So with you coming to bringing in your own and the other bringing in their own, that's what makes the pleasure. So don't just sit there, and suffer it alone. Let me tell you, a man who wants to cheat will cheat, whether you give him all the sex in the world or not. A man who wants to live will live. And seriously, there is nothing like marital obligation, because marital obligation, is has to be with two people, because it is marriage is when two people come together to agree. So marital obligation should be, this person supporting the other. So when it is one-sided, it is not marital obligation anymore. It is called slavery. Anyway, today we are breaking the silence because we are going to talk about it, of course, and we are going to be providing understanding, and we are going to be offering support. So if you know someone, or you probably is going through this kind of situation, then this vlog is for you, and come on in. Let's get into it. So before I go on, I would want to ask for a favor. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and you are coming for the first time, please subscribe to my channel before you go. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified when I post a new video. If you like my videos, give me a like on it and share it with people who might be interested. If you are a returning visitor and you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to give me a like, on the video. Thank you very much in advance. Back to today, we are going to be looking at painful sex, also known medically as dyspareunia. This situation is more common than you think. Did you know that studies have shown that 10 to 28% of women around the world go through, painful sex at one point in their life? This is to show you how common, this situation could be. So you are not alone in this. It could be a burning sensation during penetration. It could also be, a sharp pain or even a deep ache. Whatever it is, don't think that this is all in the head, because it's not just in your head. It is real, it is valid, and it deserves attention. But first of all, let's talk about, what are the causes of this? Why are we having this kind of issue? Because women go from one issue to the other. I think, that gender is really the gender with so much of medical issues, that people, especially the society, should put so much attention to, than the other gender. And I don't mean that the other gender is not important. I think that women issues should be looked into more, than ignoring it. Anyway, let's go into the causes of this thing, and how
Let's
we
talk
can
about
manage the causes of pain during sex. It is important that we know these causes, because the thing is, why are we having pain during sex? Sex is supposed to be a pleasure, thing between two people. It is something that two people have to enjoy. But why is it that one person is enjoying it more than the other person? Why is it that someone has to go through pain? Why going through something that was supposed to be pleasure to her? So let's start with number lack of lubrication. Sometimes the body does not produce enough natural lubricant to lubricate that area, making penetration more uncomfortable and even painful for the woman. Issues like stress, hormonal imbalances, and certain medications, could be contributing factors that can affect lubrication. So it's important that we look at the amount of day-to-day stress that we have, what kind of medications are we taking, and what our hormones, what our body is telling us, to be able to understand why we are going through lack of lubrication, in that area. Number two, infections and medical conditions. Yes, what you had. Issues like, yeast infections, urinary tract infections, endometriosis, fibroids, pelvic inflammatory diseases, can be, also contributing factors, that can make you have pain during intercourse. This is really a very big deal. In fact, this actually, happened to me, when I was going through fibroid in between 2018 and 2019. It was really a big deal for me. It was really like very painful to go through an intercourse with my boyfriend, because it was really painful. In fact, for me, sex was, please don't just go there. Sometimes you don't even have the urge for it, because you know that, yeah, if I have it, I'm going to have pain, So issues like that, this kind of medical conditions are really big deal that you should check out, So if you are going through some kind of painful, if you are going through pain when you are having intercourse or sex, make sure that you check out this kind of condition. Are you going through endometriosis? Are you having fibroids? Do you have pelvic inflammatory disease, or are you going through, a UTI infection? These are kind of things that you should look out for to really, clear the doubts, so because it's very, very important. So number three, vaginismus. Horrible name. Anyway, the first time I had it. So this is an involuntary tightening of the vaginal muscles, during penetration when you are going through sex. And it's often linked with anxiety, trauma, and fear of pain during intercourse. This is really a very big deal, and vaginismus is a situation, that somebody can develop, because of past experience, So just watch out, what kind of experience did that person have, especially people who were violated when they were younger or in the past, or people who went through some certain kind of conditions, in the past, they are always afraid, and they develop this kind of phobia, when they are going through this kind of situation. So men out there, it is very important, especially if you rule out, the fact that this person does not have any medical condition or some kind of infection, or the person is unable to, like, be lubricated naturally, then it is time to check out, if the person has had, like, some kind of traumatic situation in the past. Talking about traumatic situation, that brings me to number four, psychological factors, factors like trauma, as we talked about before, stress, fear, or even negative sexual experiences in the past can impact, physical responses to sex. So you men, you really need to do a lot of work, So if you don't want a one-sided, pleasure, because the thing is, if you're having sex and the sex is one-sided, it's not sex anymore. You're not gonna enjoy anything. So you want that woman to respond. You want to really, like, know that yes, you are doing your job well. So it is important to check out, psychological situations surrounding the woman. If the woman is stressed, and you ask her, she said no, it is time to say to leave her alone. And if she had traumatic experience in the past, or she has been violated in the past, she needs your support. Rough or uncomfortable intercourse. So, if sex is rushed, forced, or lacking in foreplay, it can cause discomfort and even emotional distress. This is really very important. So, and this is something that women and men go through every day. Maybe the man has been kind of like super stressed, or maybe is triggered by something. Then he says the woman, he doesn't want to wait. He doesn't want to like do the job, do the needful. And then he rushes into the whole thing. This could cause emotional distress, and this is not a good thing. So take time, let it just be something that, the response of the other person, is yes, I am ready, and you two can just go into the whole thing. You don't have to rush it, you don't have to force it. What are you rushing? This woman is yours. Whatever you do, she's going nowhere, she's going to be there. So what are you rushing? Why do you have to force it? You don't have to, it's not necessary. So if you do, seriously, you are causing more problem than good, and that's not a good thing, trust me. Having talked about the causes, of pain during sex, it doesn't end there, because today, like I said, we are bringing understanding to your doorsteps. We are bringing also support, so that people going through this kind of situation will be able to speak up, will be able to like find ways to manage their solution. And that is why I am bringing another good news. The good news is that there are ways you can, manage your situation. There are ways you can find relief. And this is something you have to be thinking about, and don't shy away from it. So if you're experiencing, pain during sex, you are not alone, because there are ways, there are things that you can do to help yourself. Let's start with the first one: communication with your partner. Be open, be honest, and it will do you a whole lot of good. Open and honest conversation can help you, both of you, to find ways, to make sex more comfortable and more pleasurable. So don't keep quiet. Most women in Nigeria keep quiet, about these things, for fear of their husband not suspecting that, they are looking somewhere else, or maybe their husbands might be thinking that, it's all in their head. Probably he, as the man, is not doing it very well. you know Seriously, you have to talk, because you are the one going through the pain. If you keep quiet, you continue with the pain. And if you continue with the pain, at some point in your life, you might not even, stand it, and it will become a problem. So that thing you were afraid of, probably afraid of losing your man to somebody else, will still happen if you keep quiet. So it's important you let your husband or your partner know what you are going through, and also let him know that yes, there are ways, there are solutions to it. It's not like, the end of the world. So talk. Oh, it's very important. Number two, use lubrication. A good quality lubricant can work, wonders, especially if dryness is an issue. It is very important, that you go, there is no shame in it. Go to the pharmacist, ask them for water-based lubricants. It's very important. Let me tell you about, the thing about vaginal dryness, or kind of like, painful sex. It's not just about painful sex. It's also about, the tampon. Like, I told you earlier on in this video that I went through fibroid, and during the time I went through fibroid, I usually use tampon during my menstrual period. Seriously, just putting tampon inside there was painful. So it's not just about painful sex, it's about anything penetration, anything that penetrates inside there, will cause you pain. So it is important that you use lubricant. And during that time, I was using lubrication on my tampon, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I had to buy the water-based lubricant, which is very sterile. We call it sterile, sorry, sterile Deutsch, which is really like, uh, doesn't have it comes on its own. It's medically approved because it was my doctor who gave it to me. My gynecologist, gave me the paper to buy it. So I had to buy that particular lubricant. It was very, very nice, and I put it on my tampon, and then I fix my tampon inside it. So it's not just about, penetration during sex. It's also about, any kind of penetration that is going inside there. So look for a quality lubricant for yourself. It will help you. It will do you a whole lot of good. Nobody wants to experience. In fact, pain is so uncomfortable to even. So still on, the ways you can help yourself manage, pain during sexual intercourse. The next one we're going to talk about is pelvic floor therapy. Exercise and professional therapy can help relax muscles, and reduce pain. Who can even believe that just doing exercise can help relax the pelvic muscle for you to really like enjoy, what you were supposed to anyway. That's not what we're talking about. So it's important to know, that if you're going through this kind of issues, you can look out for physical therapists out there. They'll be in a better position to help you. Ask them how you can do it. What can you do? It is important because really pelvic floor exercise had done me a whole lot of good. I practically do this, almost all the time. I mean, I go to the fitness, 3 to 4 times in a week, depending on my weekly schedule. When I have less work, in the week, I go 4 times. When I have like much work, I make sure that I go 3 times. 3 times is actually my list, And whenever I go, I try to make sure that I integrate pelvic floor exercise. The reason being that as me, as a person who is going, who is in my 40s in anyway, and being in my 40s, I definitely at some point or even have started going through what we call perimenopause. And during perimenopause, there are so many things that come out, leaks, like, involuntary leaks, incontinence, although I haven't started having it. But the thing is that probably because I do pelvic floor exercise, that's why. But the people around me who kind of like are going through are going through perimenopause, they've already started telling me that they've already, like, when they cough, something goes down there. Anyway, so but the thing is that pelvic floor exercise, has helped me a whole lot. So if you're looking to find out, there are so many people out there on the internet, especially on YouTube as well, you can find out what it looks like, so that you can integrate it. And the good thing about pelvic floor exercise is not something that you necessarily, do at the gym. It's not something you necessarily need an equipment, it's something that you can do on your own zu Hause, at home. Sorry, I'm using Deutsch. Anyway, it's something that you can do at home. You can practice it anytime you want. Just make out time, 10 minutes of the day, 15 minutes of the day, do pelvic exercise. It will relax your muscle. It will give you even the benefits that you did not even expect. It definitely will surprise you because seriously, it helps me a whole lot. So next one I'm going to talk about, is visit your doctor. If you have done all this, you've done pelvic exercise, you have used lubrication, and it has not stopped, then it is time for you to visit your doctor if the pain persists. Because seriously, a medical checkup will help you diagnose, if there are some kind of underlying, condition out there, that is really bringing about this pain. So it's really very good that you check out with your doctor, especially your gynecologist. The good thing is that, your gynecologist knows what you're going through. So don't just go to any kind of doctor. Okay, yeah, I'm feeling not too good today, so I'm going to a general practitioner. No, go to a gynecologist. Your gynecologist knows what you're going through and will be able to guide you well. The next one I would want to talk about, still on how you can manage yourself, is one thing the society shy away from. But well, I'm going to talk about it. Exploring non penetrative intimacy. Let me tell you, intimacy is not just about penetration. That you go in there, toss it in and out, it is not intimacy. It is more than that. So find other ways to connect with your partner, ways that feel good for both of you, ways that feel very comfortable for both of you to enjoy your intimacy. It will do you a whole lot of good. And to the men out there, seriously, supporting a partner, that is experiencing pain is empowerment. It is something that you should do. It is something that you should be proud of, because that shows you love her. That shows you are there to support her. That shows you are there, to stand, behind her in that kind of situation. Let's talk about, how men can help, their women. For the men out there, listen up, take a seat, because this is really going to be, a long conversation between me and you guys. Okay, so if your partner is experiencing pain during sex, your reaction and support is very crucial, because the woman wants to know that, you are by her. She wants to know that, yes, she can still count on you. It is not a time for you to really, like, look other ways or start chasing other virgins out there. It is not, a time for you to say she is being selfish. It's not a time for you to exercise your patriarchal, power or authority over her. It is not a time for you to start suspecting or doing thinking that you are not doing it very well. She needs your support. And when I'm talking about support, I'm talking about 100% support. Now, some of you might be thinking, how do I support? What am I going to do, in this kind of situation? Now, let's take, for example, you are going through some kind of intercourse with your wife or your partner, and then I don't even, you looked at her face, and she is not really, like, responding the way you think she should respond, or the way she has been responding in the past. It is time for you to stop. Even if she doesn't tell you, it's painful, it is time for you to stop and ask what is wrong with you, you know because it is, your right to know, why she is not responding the way she used to respond. It is your right to know what is going on with her. And sometimes the woman might find it difficult to talk about it because of shame, because of embarrassment, and because of stigma. And maybe that you might be thinking, oh, is she thinking I'm not doing it well? Is she looking for somebody out there? No. If you kind of be patient, and create space, where she can find discussing that situation with you in a more comfortable way, to avoid fear or shame, it will do you a whole lot of good. I mean, both of you. And this is a way to support her. Another thing I would also want to talk about, is patient and understanding. Like I've talked about here, showing empathy for your wife is very important. Let her know that, she's not alone, and you are in that, situation together, because she wants to know that, yes, you are going to go through this journey with her. And another thing I've talked about, intimacy is not just about tossing in and out. Intimacy is not just about, doing all those things, going in and out of it. There are so many other things, that you can do to really enjoy, your togetherness. So look for those, extra, non-penetrative, intimacy, activities that can help you, because look for it. Both of you should look for it, should talk about it, should look for it together. It is really very important because it concerns both of you. It is the pleasure of both of you. Another thing I would also want to talk about, that you can do is educate yourself. Just by listening to this video, you've gotten to know, the causes of this kind of thing, knowing that she is not the one that inflicted it on herself. You already have known, strategies on how you can manage this situation. Then, understanding this, that yes, there are solutions to these things, it will do you a whole lot of good. Support her through doctor's visit, through therapy, or alternative intimacy. If she's going through, pelvic floor exercise, make fun of it, join her, because pelvic floor exercise, surprisingly, it's not just for women alone. Men benefit also from pelvic floor exercise. I know what, before I go, sex should be pleasurable for both partners and not one-sided. When sex becomes one-sided, then it's not just sex, it's something else. Women, you are not obligated, to endure pain just because you during sex, just because you want to please someone else. You are not, under any obligation to endure pain, because you're just trying to fulfill your marital status. It is good, you are trying to fulfill your marital status, but under pain, you have to talk about it. Don't shy away from it. You have to open your mouth, and create that space for conversation. You have to honestly discuss it with your partner. It is you that is just making things in your head, that maybe if you discuss it with your partner, she's going to leave you for another person, or maybe she's going to suspect that you are doing something else, or maybe you are not satisfied with him. Let me tell you, when you make all those things in your head, it stays in your head. You continue going through the pain, but the thing is that you wouldn't know the reaction of the other person if you don't talk about it. But if you talk about it, then you would know the reaction of the other person. Now, to you men out there, I would also want to let you know that real intimacy, comes from love, care, and mutual respect, and not just penetration. I said it before, it is not just by tossing in and out there. Support is what this woman needs. Standing by her is what this woman needs. Encouraging open communication, and educating yourself, on the things that concerns her, so that you'll be able to know how to help her when the situation arises. That is very, very important, and that shows, you love her, and just shows you care for her. So that brings me to the end of today's video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you find this video very helpful, give me a thumb up on it, and also um, subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. Click the notification button so that you will always, get notified when I post content like this. Share this video with people who might also be going through the situation, because this is really a challenge for almost, 23% of women out there in the world. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below if you have, or someone have gone through, painful sex. Let me know how they dealt with it. Let's encourage, support, each other. It is really, really very important. Thank you for coming by once again. Stay healthy, stay beautiful, and I hope to see you guys, on my next